So you create a section by pressing Shift and S. That creates a section. Or by coming here, section. And so these are the different elements we want to create: buttons, input fields, labels, nav menu, cards, modals, progress indicators, alerts. So so we were able to create input fields and then buttons, and then we'll be continuing with the others today. Hold on, I'm trying to. Okay. So let me move on to the next section. So these were the buttons. We created primary buttons, secondary buttons, two variations of secondary buttons, although this first variation is actually the more um, accessible one, the more intuitive one, but like the supported one. And then this is a tertiary button, a button that has no border, no field, just text and then the icon. And then these are input fields we created for username. This is a label and then an input field, a label and an input field, a label and an input field. So the assignment was to actually create all these, what was done in class, and replicate it in a different Figma file and share with me. So can is anyone joining from their system? Joining with their system? Is anyone joining with their system?
No,
Okay, Tunde, Elizabeth, are you joining with your system?
No, no.
Okay. What of Ayomide? Are you joining with your system?
hello. No, I am not.
Okay. All right, then it means we're going to do it the same way we did it last week, whereby I would design each one. So what we're looking at now, we'll be looking at navigation menu. So we're going to do two variations. We'll do the one for the desktop or like web app or a web application, and then we'll do the one for a mobile um, application, mobile app. So yes, so let me rename this. You can rename by double clicking on where the name is, either here or coming to the layers panel and double clicking on it, or clicking on what is selected and pressing Control R. Automatically it would like to get to become this. So let's do that again. Control R. So let me rename it to nav menu. Okay. So for recap's sake, let me let's just go over like the different components, the different elements rather that we're going to be designing before we actually begin. Yeah. So okay. So here we are. So I think I got some submissions today and yesterday, which I haven't graded. I will try and do that before our next class, because after today's class, you'd also have um something to a task to practice for. So the thing is, how this works is that I want everybody to actually see how the important elements in UI design are designed. This would actually help you in designing products, right? At least. And then once you've gotten a solid idea of all this, which you can continue to explore. So looking at the buttons, I think I already mentioned primary, secondary. and tertiary. And I explained it in the last class, the differences between them. Primary being the most prominent button, and then tertiary being the least prominent button. So it's like in order of their importance. Let's say you want a user to make two choices. But to choose between to select a model or something, and then you have these two buttons here. This this is actually the choice that you want the user to make, the one of the most priority, and then this is the secondary choice. So let's say you want the user to delete or confirm if they want to delete. This would be delete, this would be cancel. So the way you place these two buttons side by side, there are some rules. Or rather, let me not say rules, just some little best practice. Like there are rules, but regarding buttons, let me just call it best practices. So if you're designing a web app, it's always good that your primary button is to the left while your secondary button is to the right. Because when you're using a trackpad or a mouse, we tend to hover towards the left side if we're using our right hand. It's just involuntary. But once you move, you go like this. You're moving towards the left. So it's actually easier. And it's like the button on the left has more proximity to the user than the form. If it's where in the case of mobile, then it would be like switch. So your primary button would be to the right, which would be closer to the thumb of your user for a mobile app, while your secondary button would be to the left. Yes, that's that. So I think we don't need this. This is just a copy. What else is there on buttons? Yeah, I think that's all. Then for input fields, yeah, tertiary buttons are used for stuff like learn more. Tertiary buttons are used for stuff like learn more, help, keep, those very least important actions that you want your user to take. Okay, so let's move on to input fields before we continue. So I'm sure we've all encountered this in a uh, sign up or sign in, you know, flow of either a mobile app or a web app, whereby you have to enter a username, you know, there's so it differs, and one way you can show differentiation is using the icon, and then you're using this icon. So these are patterns. These are already established patterns that once anybody sees them, they recognize that, oh, this is the input field for her email, this is the input field for a username, the input field for a date. Whereas once you click on this, you activate a calendar drop down, or once you type, you activate a calendar drop down. So let's move on to the navigation to why. Yeah. So the first type of navigation we're going to look at would be the let's say would be the web navigation. Yeah. So we're going to look at two types: the web navigation for a desktop version of a website, and then the mobile version of the website. So you've noticed that in when you're viewing a website from a desktop, navigation is like a horizontal list of of links of elements which are text that direct you to different um, different pages or different sections of the website. Whereas if you were viewing a website through a mobile device or on a mobile device, you'll see that your menu will just be an icon, either a hamburger menu, which is three lines, or three dots. Whereas when you click on it, you would activate a drop down. Yeah, and that drop down will contain your menu for you to choose from. So menus provide like a list of options for the user to choose from. Then if you're looking at a mobile app, for instance, if you're looking at a mobile app, for instance, you would also notice that it's different. First of all, it's found at the bottom of the um, mobile app, and compared to the and it's called a bottom navbar, and compared to the desktop menus, which are up and like a list of a horizontal list of options. These ones are more visual. They usually have icons, not just list of text. They have icons that allow you to navigate from one page of the mobile app to another. And mobile apps also still have, the hamburger menu. So mobile apps still do that. But when you're looking at navigation for mobile apps, the bottom nav bar is the most important. Why? Because it is closest to the thumb of the user. It's closest to the thumb of the user. So the area whereas your thumb is, let's see, the area whereas your thumb can easily access, that is to the, let me see if I can, okay, so then, for that area, let's say something around, let's imagine this were a mobile device, something around here, this area. This is like the established place for you to put your navigation. That's why you see floating buttons or floating action buttons here. All these buttons that once you click on it, it splits into three or so buttons. Okay, let's do that. Let me actually do that. So let's create a floating action button. So a floating action button is a version of a button, but it's just that it has no text. Let me duplicate this. A floating action button or a fab. We're going to try to create that. A fab. Okay. So let me duplicate this. This is a frame, whereas where I have removed the fill. So it has no background. I just close it by activating just, and I did the same for this. And I also hit the stroke. I hit the fill and I hit the stroke. So we're going to duplicate this. So we have this. Let me align it to, okay, I'm trying duplicating this. Let me align it to the text here. So first off, I will change the text color to white. Why? Because I am going to activate, or rather, I'm going to unhide the fill. Because if it were still purple, once I unhide the fill, everything will be purple. Yeah, I'm still going to leave the stroke. We don't need the stroke for this floating action button because we're just going to be creating a primary floating action button. So what I need to do is, since I told you in the last class that we're not going to be using auto layout at all, but I think ever in our next class we'll just treat auto layout specifically. So once we round up with the different elements and I give you guys an assignment to actually make a simple design, then next we'll look at how to work with auto layout. So if I were working with auto layout, it would have been a lot easier. I'll just delete it and I would have my floating action button. But it will take a lot more than that now. So I'll click on this, come here and hide, or I'll just delete it entirely. So I have just the icon in the button. So now the icon from here to here is how many pixels? 36. So it's too much for a floating action button. So I want it to be 16. 16. Remember I told you about constraint. So now I want to shift, I want to crop this button, or rather reduce the size of this button from this direction. But let's check the constraints of this. See what will happen if I try to do this. See it shift. Why? Because this button is constrained to the left. Can you see this line? So now we have to change this button to be constrained to the right so that we can reduce the size, the width of this without affecting the button itself. So let's change the constraint. You can find your constraint here. Look at it. It's aligned, it's constrained to the left. Let's change it to the right. So it's changing. This line appears here. Before it was here, now it's there. So now let's reduce the size of this. I want it to be 16 here, 16 here, so that the size is the same. So let me do that. See, can you see it doesn't shift the same? So there's 16 now. So this is what a floating action button looks like. It's usually okay. I think you lost me for like a few minutes, right? But you weren't hearing anything.
Yes.
All right. So let me continue. You can still see my screen, right?
Yes,
Does it want?
yes, I can still see your screen.
Okay. So I haven't done anything. So I was talking about your Google Calendar. Yeah, you'd have this on the lower left or lower right hand corner of your Google Calendar app. You know, when you want to create a schedule, a task or event or something. So this is, I like to call this a square floating action button. There's also another variation of this where it's round like a circle. So what I usually do if I'm working with frames is I just come here to the corner radius part, and it's 4, right? The corner radius is 4. That is, wait, sorry. The corner radius is 4. That's this part. These are the corners. So the corner radius is 4. So if I want to turn this into a circle, I just turn this corner radius to 100 and it becomes a circle. The reason why it's looking more like an oval is because it's not a square. This is a rectangle. The sides are not equal. It's 13, 13. So if I wanted to make this equal, then let me do that. 16, then I would make, now increase the length of this. Okay, so now it's actually a square. So let me delete it and then duplicate it and change the corner radius 100. Okay. So it's like the curve is now too big that it becomes a circle. So this is the most common path that you see. So there are actually of two versions. The one characteristic of a floating action button is that it's almost as if they are floating. They just they are fixed to a spot. So whether you're scrolling or anything, they just stay there floating on your screen. So let's come back to our menu. So as I said, we're working on the desktop now. So I think let me copy this text. So let's call it um, web desktop now. So we'll just use text. So T to activate your text, or you come and click here. So let's say home, right? Then we duplicate. Oh, wait, first let me reduce. Let me make this 14. Yeah. So we have home. And I duplicate this. Let's say this is about. Can someone give me another navigation after home? About what else can you find? Hmm. I'm actually waiting to hear from someone. Another navigation option, we have home, we have about.
Contact.
Which other one?
Contact.
Contact. Okay, yes, yes. Then another one.
Look, sorry, I can't see your screen changing. Just
Oh, you
stay
can't
there
see
as
my
a
screen.
stay picture. No
It's
changing.
saying still.
I'm just seeing fab.
Is it the same thing for everyone? Can see my screen. Someone else should confirm if you can see my screen, or if it's like static, it's not moving. You're still seeing.
I can see your screen. I can see your screen, the web desktop now.
You know, I'm seeing is
Okay.
tag glance. It's tag that is fab. I can see fab, but I can't see the section where you are working on. I can't see.
Oh, I think it's your network. I think it's your network. It's affecting
Okay, okay.
what you can see. Yeah. But I'm actually creating the navigation. So after contact is what, which other one again? Let's say event. These are stuff that you see. Okay, so I think we're okay with this four. So once you created this, you're actually good to go with this. Just make sure that you position them, like at the top, right? At the top of your screen, your mobile, your web app, your website. Then make sure that the spacing between them is the same. So it's the same. We can see that the spacing is 28. But say for peradventure it's not the same, you select everything, and then you see something like. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so by clicking on
Yes.
this,
Yes.
okay, so by clicking on um these three lines here, this icon, you can actually distribute the spacing. That is, make sure that they are evenly spaced. So you see that there's nothing showing us the spacing, like the spacing between them, because they are not equal. But once you click on this, you'll be able to see that the distance between all of them is 25 pixels. So you can either group this or turn this into a frame. So Control Alt G to turn into a frame. So we have a frame. Let's call this now. Let's call this nav name. So when you're working with nav, the you want an indicator that shows the user where where they are. So what you need to do is that instead of just changing this color, you have to make sure that instead of just changing this color to something else, you have to make sure that the others are less prominent. So what you can do is you come and reduce the opacity of the text, or you actually change the color entirely to something less darker. So by moving up here, so, so by moving up here, here we're changing to something less darker. Let's say then you now say, like, imagine you want to indicate that it is that the user is at home. And maybe you can make this black. If black is your color, or you have to make sure that this one is more visible since it is what you want the user to see like an indicator. So we've done the desktop web desktop now. Then to let's move to mobile desktop now. Sorry, web mobile now. This is just this would be a menu. This would just be a menu or rather a menu icon. So last week I showed you how to use Iconify, right? So when you right click, you go to your plugin. We use Iconify recently with that. You can either come to Iconify and select your choose from a range of different menu types. I wonder why it's not loading. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to search for menu. And last week we used I think we used materials. Did we? Okay, no. I think we used a number of icons. We used some ant design icons. We used feather icons mostly. So let's see. So when you're designing, you have to make sure that you're using just these are icon packs or icon libraries. These are different icon libraries. So Iconify has different icon libraries. You have to make sure that you're actually sticking with one icon library that has like all the fonts that you need if you're using Iconify. Or else icons are different, they look different. So to ensure consistency in your design, you have to make sure that you're sticking to one icon library. But sometimes with Iconify, you might not have all the icons you want in the libraries that they have because I don't think they update their libraries regularly. But icon libraries add new icons. They continue to update their icons, but these icons are kind of outdated. Yeah. So we couldn't find the icons that we needed, and instead we had to look for another one. So select let's select this. So meaning that it's only going to give us menus from this icon library. So let's see. Yeah, so see what we got. We got this and then we got this. So these are two types of menus. So we're going to use this. So you click on it, you can edit the color, you can change the size 24 pixels, 36 pixels. But I think we're using 24 pixels. So we just import. And then I told you how you can minimize your plugin. You don't want it to close. so that you can come back to it later. You just press here. So your plugin will just will hover around this space, this corner, or any corner where for mostly to be left. So our icon has been pasted. But where is it hiding? That's the thing with this icon. If I just paste anywhere. Anyway, let's go. Okay, here. So let me cut it. Then I'll paste this into here. So this is so this is our menu. We can get the other one. Import icon. Then we come up to minimize it again. Let me so you see that you can yes. So this is it. These are two types. The most commonly used is this, but you see some with just two lines. You see some like there's actually different styles of these these menus. Yeah. But menus are mostly found on the top right corner of mobile devices, top right corner. And once you click on them, you activate a drop down menu. So then let's go to I think we're going to create a drop down. Let me see, will we? Oh no, actually not. So maybe we would have to add that to the nav menu. Okay, that works. Yeah, that works. That's also essential, a drop down. So we'll create a drop down. Let me move it. So to create a drop down, I'll just take this step. So you want to create a drop down that has all these things. So imagine you have like your mobile navigation, then you click on this menu and then it brings out all these things. So in fact, let me delete it. I'll just duplicate it. Then okay. So I'll just duplicate this and then uh, let me unselect. Sorry. So I've removed it from a frame. It's now no more a like it's now no more a frame. I did that by pressing Control and Backspace. So if you're using a Mac, Command and Backspace. Okay. So that it removes everything. Okay. So I now want to align this horizontally, sorry, vertically. Then we also want to make sure that they share the same spacing and also the same color. So I'll give all of them. It should also be zero. That's black. Then we want to distribute the spacing by clicking on this again. So the spacing that they all share is 30. So you can control the spacing from here. Let's say I want the spacing to be 24 here. So now we have this. So let's group all these, or instead of doing this here, let's group all these, or rather, let's turn this into a frame. So if you turn a group into a frame, or rather, you turn a group of selection into a frame by Control Alt G. Now we have a frame. Let's call it frame drop down. So now we want to extend, let's give the frame a different color to differentiate it from the back. Let's give the drop down a different color to differentiate it from the background. So come this selection colors, it shows the colors of everything. I hope you can hear me clearly. Everything within your selection. But it's not talking about the background. So this is where you select the color for the background. So yeah, let's white. Okay. So instead of changing the color, let's give it a stroke. Let's give it a stroke. Let's make the stroke a very light dark color. Actually, when you want to give strokes, make sure that your strokes are similar to white. Yeah, that's actually when you want to give strokes to cards or drop down. So we have this. It's just so that we can know where our drop down ends and the background continues. So now let's pull this out here. How many pixels? 16. Good. So we want the same thing. And then let's pull this down here. 10. So let's add 6 to it. So adding 6 to the height. So that's 456 with 16 pixels. And then from the widest or longest, let's have 16 pixels. That's what we're using. So now we want first off we want to change the constraints of this. Why? Because I also want to expand it from here and expand it from here. But if I expand it from here, see what will happen. So we don't want that. And if I expand it from here, see what will happen. No, we don't want that. Instead, we want there to be space here and we want there to be space here. So you select what is inside by pressing enter. You press you click on the host, then if you press enter, you're able to select the children of any parent. Enter to select the children. So now we want to work on the constraint. We'll move the constraint from left, it's constraint to the left, and we want to constrain it to the right so that it sticks to the right and it doesn't move. And then we'll move it from top to bottom. So then let's select the parent again. So if we drag, because it's constrained to the right, it doesn't shift. And if we drag it from here, because it's constrained to the bottom, it doesn't shift. So this is the drop down that we created. So there are different, so I'm actually increasing the spacing. So this is it. So this is a drop down. Drop downs usually have corner radius. Some can have lines differentiating each each option. So let's give it a corner radius. Let's say 4. Okay, that should work. So this is it. It's not very visible, but this will do. Okay, this will do. You can create emphasis by adding shadows. You can add a drop shadow. Let's say drop shadow. Let's say 2. Y axis. This means um, where the shadow is appearing here. So it's 2. And then the blur, how um, how sharp or blurry the shadow is. I think 4 is okay. I think 4 is okay. And then the transparency of the shadow, let's say 50. Let me also, yes, so you see, we've created more emphasis with this. It's always good to use soft shadows for your, and and it actually looks like we have a shadow everywhere, but actually we just have a shadow here. What you can see here is just the border, or rather, the stroke. That's what you can see here. So your stroke, if it's done correctly, can actually give the illusion of a shadow. Yes. Okay, so let's continue to the web mobile now. So I think I still need this. So we're going to change the options because for a mobile app, you don't have home, about, contact, event. What you usually have is home, um, let's say profile, then settings, and maybe. Can anyone give me a suggestion for something on a mobile, bottom mobile now? I can't hear anyone. I was thinking, okay, something. Okay, go ahead, please. Ayomide, please go ahead.
Yeah, so my say, please, could you repeat what you said? I didn't hear you properly.
Okay, so you can see my screen, right?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so I the option I selected is the last or the fourth option for a mobile navigation, the bottom mobile navigation bar. So I wanted someone to suggest what to add there. After home profile settings, what else do you find at the bottom nav bar? Okay, then it seems so we can have something like support. Here. So I also
Okay,
want to
maybe contact us.
see or support here. Yeah, thank you for that. So we also want to make sure that the spacing is equal to, but that won't work well because like it's already extending outside the frame. So what I want to do is I want to delete or rather remove what them from a frame. So I've removed the frame. Now I can now distribute the spacing. So now we have 25. Let's still make it 24. Okay. So for mobile now, you don't just leave them like this. You need to have icons as indicators. So we're still going to use our plugin. So for home, let's search for home, and we are using what icon we're using in this. So let's search for home. I don't like this their home icon, so we manage it. Let's use this one. So we import the icon, then minimize. Okay. So let me come and paste the icon. So exactly where I want it. So let's look at the height. It's okay. Then we want another icon. For profile, the icon you use for profile is user. And we're still using this icon. So yeah, user. We just select this one. Then import icon. And minimize it. So what I'm doing is I'm copying the icon and I'm coming to paste because when you once you bring the icon from Iconify into your file, you just paste it anywhere. So instead of looking for where your icon is, it's always better to just cut and paste after it's like appears from the layers panel. So let's show another icon. Let's look for settings. We're still using icon noi or icon whatever. So let's use this. Then import icon. Then we minimize this again. Then click on this. Then Control X to cut. And then click here and Control V to paste. So we have our settings. So I'm making sure that it's aligned to the center. It's aligned to the center of the text and also aligned to all the other icons. So the last icon support. Usually for support you see something like a mic or not a microphone, headphones, yeah, headphone, or just type support, yeah, or let's just type support. Let's see what. So, see what. Yeah, something like this. This is what I was looking for. So what's it called? It's called support. Well, let's select it. I'm not really looking at the icon now or the icon family because as you can see there is no icono here. Icono doesn't have a support icon. So just make do with what we have and import and then we minimize it. Control X to copy and Control V to paste. Yeah. So you can see because I use different icons, they're kind of different. They look different. This one is the car, while these ones are live. But well, so I'm going to frame all these. I'll frame each one. That's it. And then I want them to have a certain width and height. So let's make the width 90 and then make the height. Let's add 24 plus 24. You can do arithmetic plus 24. That is to add 24 to the height. Okay, so we have our frame. And then we select what is inside and then we place it in the center. So this is one thing. So I think I'm going to do this to all the others. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this frame and copy what is here. Control X, remove what is inside, and then paste. So we have to make sure that they are aligned. It's because they're wearing this together and in the center. So let's do that. Here it's in the center. But there's
Sorry,
this
ma, please, I don't understand what you just did now. Eh,
I hope I hope you've been understanding like so far.
yes, but just this part that I don't understand. Is it copy?
Okay, so let me undo.
Okay.
To undo, Control C to undo. Okay. So I copied this. So what I did is I duplicated this. So instead of so I put this in a frame. So I want all the frames to be the same size. So I'm going to put all these in one frame, each pair in one frame, each pair in one frame. Why? Because I want them to have the same width and the same length. So that when you are having, because the contents are not the same, this text is longer than this text is longer than this text. If we don't do this, then the spacing between them won't be the same. Like spacing between here won't be the spacing between here and won't be the spacing between here. And even if they are like, it will still be looking somehow. Here might look too far away. Because this text is longer, this settings icon will look too far from this. So to make sure that they all have like the same space, what you do is you group what is the content, you group them and put them in a like you group them and give them borders, right? So this one has 12 up, 12 down, 18 by the side, 18. So you have to make sure that it's the same size, that all of them are 90, all the frames are 90 and 72. And so instead of having to group this one and then turn them into a frame and then start doing the width and height, whatever, what I did is I made a copy of this or a duplicate of this one. So I want to copy what is here and then paste it inside here. And instead of this, like I will delete this, and instead what will be in here will be this, right? Did you get that?
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Okay, so now let me delete what is inside. Then so instead of copying, right, I'll just come here, select. I can also move and move it inside the too. So see, so now we've moved it inside. So we want to create two more frames before we start arranging the frame. So I'll copy this and I'll do the same thing I'll do the same thing and I'll delete the content, then select these two. Actually selected here. Select these two and then move it inside to the middle. Make sure that it's in the middle. Then the same thing, I'll make another duplicate of this. Delete what is inside, then copy this inside and save. I select this and then move it inside. So now we have this frame. So I want to name my frames. Let's name this form profile setting, then support. So now I'm taking what all of them. I'm trying to make sure that they are the same, and then I want to reduce. See, once you hover around the spacing, you can left click on it. You can click on it and drag to reduce the spacing. So now it's from zero spacing between it. Now bring them to be on the same line with this, and then zero spacing. So then I'll select this. So now, so that so we're in the process of creating the nav bar. So this is it. This is our nav bar. Now the last thing I need to do now is to frame them again. Create another frame. That is, I want to group everything together and make them one. So Control Alt G to create a frame. So now we have this, and I'll call this nav bar. So this is what we have. Now let me give this a stroke to distinguish it. So let's say what was the stroke? What was the stroke for this one? Let me just copy this stroke instead of the color, and then come and give this the same color. And then we also want to give a corner radius, but because it's navigation bar, we don't want everything like all the corners to be round. We just want this corner and this corner. So we select the nav bar and then come here to corner radius and move to the left to give the individual corners their radius. So let's come here, we'll give this 8, that's that side, this corner. Then for this corner, we'll also give this 8. So you see, so this is an alpha. So one best practice to notice that the part that is selected, the same thing you did for the same thing you did here, the part that is selected, make sure that it is very visible. While the secondary part, the part that is not selected, that are not where your user is, make sure that they are less pronounced, they are less emphasized. So we want to give it the same color with this. These are all the colors. This black is for the icon, and then this gray is for the text. So I want to make the icons to be the same color with the text. So I'm copying the icon text code and paste the text code I'm pasting it on the iPhone. So now they're all the same color. So this is our navbar. So this is it. There are different methods you can use to show emphasis. Different methods. Some would add some color or a circle here. Different methods, but this is the easiest and like this is the simplest. Yeah, and it does. So imagine you were designing a mobile app where you would have it on your app. So let's see. Let me show you. So let me see which mobile app has 360 for 360. So let's see. For, mm, I think there's one. So let's take this iPhone 13 mini. Let me make it. Yeah. So imagine this is iPhone 13 mini. You can copy this and then paste it here. So this is how it will look like. Your navigation. I'm trying to align it to the center here. So that is it. This is how it looks like on a mobile app. And then I about the far floating action button that I was showing. Let me copy this too. It will be somewhere around. It's usually somewhere around here. Yes, somewhere around here. Yes. So where when even if you scroll or not, it's fixed here. So I think we're done with the nav menu. So let me reduce the size of the width of it. We're done with now. Then let's move to card. To card. So we want to also change this to right. Okay. So far, does anyone have any questions like on what we've done so far, the buttons, the intricacies, the like nav menu? Any questions so far?
No, but I have the question is not about this stuff, but how is it that most of the frames are like iOS for mobile, like for phone?
Okay, well, it's because it's Apple. Yes, because it's Apple. And yeah, actually, Android just has, I think, two options, just Android small and Android large. But I think the most devices are actually targeting iOS. So what they do is that for designers, even when you're designing for Android, you still go for you still go for the iOS. You still go for iOS. Like, oh, I think there's now Android Compact and Android Medium. Before it was Android Small and Android Large. Yeah, that was all. Just Android Small and Android Large. But we have a lot more options here. So you can use what I use is this. I usually use this iPhone 13 mini because it's medium. The length, the length and the width are medium. So if you're using it, yeah, meaning you're also designing for um, Android and designing for iPhone. iPhone 16 is 293 the width, while Android is 412. While this 700 by 840, I don't know what kind of Android that is. Probably a, do I call it a tablet? Yeah, this is probably a tablet, but I think this is wrong. This is supposed to be Android model. Probably a tablet, but let's check tablet sizes. Tablet sizes, okay, iPad mini, 744. So I don't know what kind of phone this is. Or maybe a Samsung, um, what they call it? A Samsung
Is it a flip? Yeah, Samsung flip or something like the open and close Samsung Android, probably this. But I use this mostly this 375, or you can use this 390. Whether you're designing for Android or iPhone, it's now up to the developers if they will know how to do it so that it's responsive across different mobile devices. But it's always best to design with a smaller screen so that you're so that you'll be able to get the content right. Because if you design with a larger screen, you might actually pack so many stuff in it that when it is viewed on a smaller screen like this iPhone SE, it it looks too jam packed, like not enough spacing. But if you're designing with a smaller screen or something like in the middle, then it is even if it's viewed on a big screen like this Android compact or this iPhone, it will still look instead it just look more like just look like there's more white space, which will be good instead of it to look too small or too compact. Does that answer your question? Um,
Yes, thank you.
okay. Okay, so as I was saying, cards are mostly used when you're presenting things in a grid, thing choices in a grid format or in a Google, like in your Google Docs, for instance. Let me see if I can share my Google Docs screen. Okay, so let me see, I'm coming, I'm trying. Okay, okay, so let me share this. So these are cards. These are cards. You can have them okay, please, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
I want to share the screen. Okay, thank you.
So can you see my screen? We're talking
Mm,
about somebody's
not now.
submission, Ayomide's submission.
Can't see this film.
I like,
I can't see the screen now.
oh, you can, oh, okay. Then maybe I should reload the tab.
I can't see the screen now.
Okay, you can see it. Okay, let's reload it. Mm. So this is very nice. Yeah, well done. So different frames, slide, Instagram post, iPhone, Android, another iPhone, another Android, dribble shot, iPad. So, well done. Okay. So so yeah, I wanted to show you cards. So these are also cards. These are also cards. So the basic template for a card is image, title, description, tag, then like other things, depending on the information that the card contains. So okay, so let me share. Let me go back to- Okay, so we're going to so what we're going to so type of card we're going to create an e-commerce card. And so what we need for an e-commerce card, let me just type this out. We need we need an image, we need a title, all right. I don't know why my network is behaving, but so at least this for now. But like depending on the okay, I think let me add a description so that I can show you how so it might not look like your usual card. This should okay, so first we need to get our image. So I don't know, did I no, I don't think I have. We're going to look for save plugins. We just have avatars and like we're going to look for more plugins. Plugins that will give us images that we can use. So manage plugins. Let me see. Let me just like choose. Let me see. There are different for plugins. There's one that generates um I think food, different types of food. Mm, there's nothing like food. Okay, so let's come across that one. Mm, mm. Okay, so this food avatar, instant food avatar, let's see this. So it generates food and you have like a food e-commerce, whatever. I think that's what we're going to work with. That makes sense. So I've saved it by clicking here and I'm going to run it. the point and we're going to frame. So this is a frame. This is the frame that will contain our image, right? I think the frame is perfect the way it is. So now name it image. So this is the frame. It's transparent. It has nothing, but we select it so that we can fill it up with the full avatar. So we selected our frame. That's the instruction they gave. Select the frame or shape you want to fill and click on generate pattern. So we click on that. Let's see what it gives us. So this is a the cherry. Anyway, this is the so we have this. Then we're going to define that your carriage as well. Yeah, just to round this side. So we have four here. Now we need a type to. I like the size of this. So I'll keep yeah, duplicate this. Yeah, edit. Just name it cherry. Some there, but it's okay. Just cherry. Right? And you need to give it a description, right? For something like it, the description is not necessary. So let's make it 12 pixels for description. And then we also need to reduce the instead of this like that, let's come and make this medium. Yeah. Yeah. So okay, let's see reduce it. Then the position like sweet and assumption. Sweet. I want I want yeah, I want a new line. So I'm actually going to where hold on for me please. So I want a new line. Then I'm going to come here and then change it from okay. So let me first of all. So first of all, I'm not going to go to any new line. Then I'm going to control that from here. So instead of so this, I think I explained this in like 2 classes ago. This is auto width. It means that you can keep on forever, and then this it means you set your width to like a particular um you set a fixed width, but it's just the height that is auto. So this is it. So we want to make sure that our text does not exceed this the border of this image. So let's see that. So this is it, right? So we might also want to reduce the size of the text so that it fits in. Let's see, make it fit. Yes. So sweet and sumptuous, just looking healthy, cherry for you, for your, for you, yes, for you. So this is the description. Then we are going to create a price. So basically, we're going to create all these things and then we'll group them together. So can you notice that here to here is 4 pixels? So like it's similar, like they are to be grouped together. So we want the user to see these two as a group, right? So we bring them to in fact, let me just make it two. Okay, four is okay. So four. Why from here to the into the more here from here to which so to here the passing So the tag that we're doing is, say we're doing, let's say we want to say 50. So we're doing the tag off, right? We're not going to make it a fixed height time around. Instead, we'll make it auto width, rather fixed. We'll make it auto width. So now we want to change the color to something catchy, probably the red. So let me just press I and then select red from here. I select the orange. No, the orange is too good. Let's take the red. Yeah. So 50% off. Then the price. The price is always and should always be bold, bigger text. So we'll increase it back to 10. Make sure that it's not out of the so let's align it to the right. Then we also want to change the color back to black, and then we'll say how much will we buy this in dollars? $50. So now we already have the elements of our card. What we're going to do is we're now going to group them. So this and this will group together. So this is a group. We'll name this group um, pricing. Then we have this, and we have this, and we have this. So now let's just group everything together. Everything. Yeah. I'm just going to frame them again. Control Alt G. We have a frame. So we're in the process of making our card. Let's name it card. Now the same way we've been doing, we want to give like space. We want to make sure that from here to here is 16 pixels. So let's drag that this border is 16 pixels system. Then let's add 6 more. Plus 6, 16 is too much. Let's say minus 8. I think 8 is okay. 8 pixels is okay. Minus 8. Yeah, I think 8 pixels is okay. So we want to give an 8 pixel margin. So 8 pixels here, pixel everywhere. Let's do the same thing for the bottom. So we'll see that, okay, system, we're adding 2. I hope everybody is following. So it's 8 pixels from the bottom, 8 pixels. So we now want to adjust. We want to adjust from here and adjust from here, right? So the same way we've been doing, we look at the constraint. By pressing enter, we select what is necessary, then we change the constraint from left to right, and then from top to bottom, and then we select outside. So I can drag here and make sure that it's why isn't it showing? Okay, well, let me use that. Then let me come and drag here. That is 8. Yes, 6 and 8. So this is our card, right? This is our card. Then we now want to give it a margin or a stroke. So from here, what was the color? What color are we using? What did we use for that? I'm going back to this one. What am I going to say? I'll just copy the color of the stroke, and come here. So I'm sure you've actually seen cards like this that have this black, black stroke like this. Yeah, I'm sure you've seen cards. But for the type of design that we're not using that. So let me just change the color and give it. So this is the stroke color. Now we want to add a corner radius. So this corner radius is 4, right? So the corner radius of the outer shape should always be more than the corner radius of the inner shape. So like as you go inside a card or inside a frame, you are reducing corner radius. So this is 4, then it means this corner radius should be more. It looks more natural that way. So let's make this corner radius 8. So here we are. So our card. Card. That's that. This is our card. It has the basics of the card basically. So this is a card. Okay, so that's that. Let's move on to the next one. Wait a minute, just saying something. Because it's the only thing. And the next one is modals. We're going to be creating modals, and then for modals, you would need your buttons, right? You need your buttons. So modals are used. Okay, wait. Does anyone have any questions before we move on?
No question, ma.
Okay, well done.
Does,
Is it possible to have
does
more
anyone
than
have any
a card
questions?
on a page?
I'm not hearing anything. Or, okay. So okay, so let's continue. So
Hello?
modals
Hello?
are used when you want to display information without affecting the main. Yes, yes, yes. You can have as said that you use cards when you're working with grid. So if you're like on an e-commerce site, you see something like this, one card, then another card, then that card displaying different things, and then yes, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can.
Okay, sorry about that because my network again. Okay, so if you give me a minute. Um, Okay, sorry, I had to attend to something. Okay. So yeah, before we move on, I want to understand if if we know what we mean by modals, or if I need to like show you before we start designing, so that you have an idea of what we're going to do. Is anyone familiar with the term modal?
Oh,
Can
no, no,
anyone
no.
hear me? Okay, okay. So I think I've gotten something here. If I'm going to share this, I don't know. Okay, so this is. Can everyone see me?
Yes,
So this is a modal. Yeah, this is a modal. Maybe when you make a certain action, it pops up on top of your screen, either your mobile screen or a desktop or whatever device. It pops up and then it gives you like options to choose. But sometimes you might not even need to choose an option with your modal. Maybe it's just telling you, a present state, but it wants to do all this without interrupting what is in the background. Yeah. So we're going to create a modal. We're going to create something like this. This is a simple modal. It has a title or header. Modals could be center aligned or left aligned. Could- This modal header could be in center here. This text could be in center here. Your text could be center aligned, and yeah, this close will just be hanging there. So modals can also have icons or images or illustrations with it. But this is like the simplest version of a modal that you can find. So let's create a quick modal. So what do we need for a modal? So first up, let's draw a frame. I think this will make it faster. So let's draw a frame. Let's make our frame 300 and let's say 320. Okay, no, this is okay. I think this should do. Let's make it longer. Okay. So this frame works. So let's name the frame modal. And then the way we've been doing, we give our model a fill, or it already has a fill, and then we give it a stroke, which is the stroke that we've been using also this, right? And so then let's also give it a corner radius. Let's say 8. Yes, so like we've been using 8 and 4 also, so let's just stick to this 8. Now we want to put our X, so we're going to get, okay, first let's type our text. Mm, Purchase successful. So I'm going to create a center aligned model. So this purchase successful will be somewhere around here. Right? The one I showed you, so this is why I do that. And I wasn't sharing this thing. I mentioned this in last class that if I move to a different screen, please, I need communication. Tell me when, I'm not seeing your screen, stuff like that. But this is the model. I created a frame, gave it a stroke, and then gave it a corner radius of 8. Yeah, I'm sorry I forgot to share. Okay, so purchase successful. Um, so we want this in the center. Then we also want text that is describing, what was successful. So let's reduce the text font size to 8. This is successful. Let's increase the weight to medium. So we want this aligned to the center, rather like so. So left side, you have successfully completed your successfully completed your purchase, and I want this to be the like the width of the text, and you successfully completed your purchase. Full stop. You can view your order summary and track your delivery data. So I don't like the way this text is looking. It's looking too compact. So before the line height was on auto, right? I don't want it to be in auto. I want it to be in 150%. Yeah, it's looking more readable. So now my model might be looking too small. So let me increase the height so that everything I want can enter. So we have this. We have this. So let me drag it down a little. Then what I want to do is this is looking too small. Here. So what I want to do is I want to add the closing icon here. I want to add an icon that indicates success here, and then I want to add two buttons here. One for OK or one for view order summary, right? So this model is for a mobile device, right? Okay. So let's go to Iconify. That's where we go for our icon. Iconify. So we'll search for clothes. So let's use it. Imagine Icono doesn't have a close on Iconify. So let's just randomly pick an icon. So we're using this, and because we selected a frame, so it will import inside the model, which is nice. So let's minimize it so you can see it here. We want it to be somewhere. Okay. Let's check the distance. You 6 feet. So we have the close, but it's actually too big for my liking. So since it's a model, I want to scale it down, right? I want to scale it down. So I press K to bring out the scale option, or you can come here, sorry, here, and click on scale here. So to scale it down, meaning you will reduce the size, and it would affect everything within you reduce the size uniformly, and it will affect everything within the object that you're reducing. So if I change this to 16, it's not just the width that will change, it's both the width and the height. So everything reduces to 16. So let's make it 8, 8. So this is okay. Yes. The user will be able to click on this to close the modal or click on anywhere outside the modal to close the modal. So we also need another icon for success here. I'll say like a check, yeah, checkbox or something. So let's do that. Let's see what success gives us. Oh, we get a checkbox. So let's use this. Mm, oh no, let's use this. Yeah. So we've not selected a frame, that's why nothing is showing. So let's select our modal so that I can paste inside. Yeah. So we import the icon. Let's minimize this. To remove this, to remove this, okay, remove this here. So let's select everything and move them down to this so that it's far from this X here. Yeah, this one. Okay. So I also want to change the color, give some light to it by let's make it blue, the blue that we've been using. Yeah, the blue that we've been using throughout. So purchase successful. If something don't hear your purchase, you can view your order summary and track your business. So we need two buttons. So instead of having to create buttons from scratch, since we already have buttons, I'll just come here and copy my buttons. At most, I would have to reduce the size. So Control C, I'll copy this, then I'll come to my modal and Control V. So the button is very big. So what should I do? Can someone tell me what I can do to reduce the size of this button? To uniformly reduce the size of the button and make sure that the content of the button is reducing uniformly and it's affecting everything within the button. Can everyone hear me? Elizabeth, Tunde, I will
I
Yes,
just
ma, I
can't
can
hear
hear
you
you,
clear.
okay. Okay. So I said, what can
but I
I
can't see your
do
screen.
to uh, wow. Tunde, can you also not see my screen?
I
Let
can
me
see
try.
your screen, but I'm not hearing. Yeah.
Oh, you're not hearing me clearly. How is
Yes,
it
I can
now?
hear you now. Yes,
Okay.
it's okay now.
Elizabeth, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, so probably
I'm seeing
Elizabeth's
for details of it.
you're seeing.
Purchase
I think,
successful.
okay, the button, right?
I
Oh
can
no,
see
I
the
think it
button.
shows it. Okay, yes. So to reduce the size of the button, I need to scale down the button. I press K to scale to bring out this scaling option, and then
I can either just reduce like this, so I've reduced it, or I come here and type the size that I want. Let's say I want the size to be 24, the height. So it reduces everything uniformly. So I have two buttons here. So I have one button here, and I'm going to make it two. Okay, so we have two buttons, but they shouldn't be too far apart. So we're going to select them and reduce the spacing between them, right? So we want to make the spacing, let's say 24. 24 works.
It's all changing. Yeah.
Sorry?
I'm only seeing a button. Maybe it's as if the screen is stagnant.
Oh, okay. It could be for me. Let me try refreshing this particular page. See? Okay, so can you see my screen now? Can you see my screen now, Tunde?
No difference. Maybe it's network from my side. No difference.
Okay, okay, okay. So maybe you can leave and join again. Yes, you can leave and join again and rejoin the call. Okay, so I think we'll have to call it a night. But before then, let me quickly make adjustments to this button. We want to turn this one into a secondary button. So I want to change the color of the text and make it purple too. And then well, let's say blue. Then I would also remove the fill and then add a stroke. So I think that's that. This is our modal. Okay. So it's already 9:02. So can everyone hear me? Elizabeth, Sunday, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, so we would continue on Friday. They will continue on Friday by 6. But until then, your your assignment will be to replicate what we did today. So these nav menus, this card, this modal, you have to do your own version in your own file. The same file that you used for your week 3 assignment. You also use that file for this. And this was the assignment for last week. These buttons and the input fields, those were the assignments for last week. So this week Your assignment will be to replicate this nav menu, these cards, and this modal in your own file. So that's that. And there's something I wanted to add. Okay, yes. So do you have any questions, like based on what we treated today? Any questions whatsoever? Does anyone have any
Okay,
questions?
ma, I have a question. Oh.
Mhm.
Yes, I have a
Please go ahead.
question. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, you were talking about we should do assignment and put it in a file. So I don't understand which file because I'm quite confused.
Okay, so I actually demonstrated it, I think, was it last week? Yeah, I think it was last week. But you're supposed to, let me share this. You're supposed to come to your account. You're supposed to come to your account and then create a new file, right? It's still loading. I hope you can see my screen. I'm trying to show you how to um, do the assignment and then submit.
Yes, I'm seeing your
Can,
screen, but it's still like loading. Yeah, seen it.
stop. Okay. So you come here and click on new design file and it
Yeah.
will create a file for you. So you name it. I think there was a naming convention that I gave you. MLSA Bootcamp, then your name. Okay, so you do your work within here, within this file. You can create different pages. Maybe let this be week 3 and 4, something like that. Week 3 and 4. Then once you're done, you come here, click on share. Can you see this?
Yes, I can see it.
And you click on share, then you make sure that anyone can view. Then you come here and you copy the link. It is this link that you copied that you would paste. Is this link that you copied that you would paste in the form, right? Is this link
Yes.
you copy that you paste in the form? That's all. So you just have to create a file once that you use for your week 3, 4, 5 assignment. And then you paste, copy the link, make sure that anyone can view, and then submit that link. And that's the link that I would use to access um your design. What someone else did was they added my email, but you don't need to do that, just submit, and that'll be all. So let me delete this. Okay, so that's that. Mm, so we'll see next on Friday by 6. So please try and make sure you're like up to date on your assignments and your submissions. Yeah, I'll be updating the grades and all. Okay. So I hope you were able to like get something from today's class. Yeah, and the network wasn't very annoying. All right. So
Yes, thank you.
okay. So till Friday. So have a wonderful evening and good night.
And you too. Nice.